All right, good morning and welcome everybody to your Healthy Self podcast. This is your host for the day, Regan Archibald, and really excited to be with everybody. We got a really cool show that we're going to be jumping into right now. Before we dive in, we got Regan Archibald with us as usual. Regan, how's it going this morning?
Really well.
Yeah, we just, it's kind of funny. We're just in the same car ride, just got here, but wanted to get separate screens so we're not going back and forth. So we're in the same building, just different rooms.
Yep.
So to improve the audio quality of this show. Yeah, we had the hack last night. So if you were not a member of our Health Accelerator community, and those challenges, you have to get into the Health Accelerator challenges. Go to ACU, that's acueastwest.com/hack. That's HAC. Get there. Make sure you're set up for that. That is every Wednesday at 4:30. We have our live community call there. And so really, really cool stuff. I was only able to be on for the first about 5 minutes. I was in the mid. I got stuck trying to move some office furniture at another place, and I couldn't get to my laptop. So I saw some of you on Zoom. But yeah, Regan, what's the big challenge for this week?
Well, the big challenge is to find out who you identify yourself with. And so who do you identify as? So instead of being a human doing all the time, be a human doing. So we talked about some of the mindsets when it comes to longevity. And if you identify with someone who is old and unhealthy and is always going to be in pain, then you're going to probably become that person. But if you can identify yourself with someone who's vibrant, fit, healthy, loves life, has great relationships, then you're going to have the processes and the outcome that you're looking for. Most of us, we try to go to the having. We want to have all those things, but we don't become that first. So it's all about beingness. Who do you want to identify yourself with? And that's the challenge for this week is really dive in and get in touch with who you want to be. And we had some really cool things that came in through the chat box last night. A lot of great inspired messages of people wanting, I said, picture yourself at 100 and who are you going to be at 100? And so that was it. That was the challenge.
Love that. Very cool. Well, there you have it, guys. There is your challenge for the week is help create some identity for your being.
Your 100-year-old self. Yes.
So yeah, that goes right along with longevity. So looking at how you can get there and who you can be. So beautiful, very cool. Well, so let's dive into today's topic. Now we'll hold the sponsors till the end. So let's dive in.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to get rid of knee and back pain without surgery or medications. So reset your pain, transform your life. That's the goal of this. And so if you or somebody that you know or love or trust, if they have pain, if they're struggling with it, what we're going to talk about today are ways of combating that and ways of getting over it. So there'll be some new things that you may not have realized. And so first of all, I want to congratulate all of you for taking time to join us on this podcast and this workshop. We do workshops every week because our goal and our purpose is to transform the health of as many people as possible. And so the thing that I see that gets in the way of people's health and their progress in life more than probably anything is pain. And so today we'll be covering some great solutions for getting rid of pain. So many of you're here because we've helped you. I mean, Kate, if you look at our great community, so many people have come to us because they want to get rid of their pain so they can get back to life. Patients have come to see us because the treatments they've tried haven't worked and they're frustrated by it. We talk to people every single day. I had a patient yesterday. He said, look, all the doctors want to do is operate on me, but I had the first surgery and the first surgery made things worse. And so I don't want to do that. And there's no way I'm getting back on those medications. And then people get frustrated because it feels like no one seems to care about the severity of pain that they're in. And so, so the fact that, people who are here in our community, you guys are the ones who have said, hey, I'm frustrated with the way that I've been treated. I want something different in my life. And so would you agree with me on that, Cade, that that's probably a big reason why people join our community and come see us in the clinics?
Oh, absolutely. So if you like, that's where, most people are coming, just for some real solutions, as opposed to some of the medications and surgeries, that are out there. Appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah. So I tell people, I said, look, the people we don't do well with, I worked at a neuropathy or a neurology clinic with Dr. Pam Vincent, and the crazy thing is she had a Suboxone clinic, and so patients would come in all the time looking for opiates, and they would just want a medication to mask the pain. And the problem with doing that, and many of you may have heard me talk about the mice study where they took mice and they put a rubber band around their sciatic nerve, around their leg and induced sciatica. And then they tested it to make sure that these mice had the neuropathic pain. And then one group of mice got morphine injections every day for 5 days, and the other group of mice got saline. So the administrators did not know if they were injecting saline or morphine. And then at the end of the 5 days, they took the rubber band off and they saw which group of mice healed the quickest. And surprisingly, in the study, they found out that the group of mice that had the morphine injections actually took up to 7 days longer than the group that just had the saline. So opiates don't work. So it's not for people who are just looking to mask the problem. We don't do Band-Aids. We have a no Band-Aids policy in our clinic. We want to correct the underlying issue, because you can't put a Band-Aid over arthritis and say, all right, this is good. Here's a little steroidal injection and you're fine. It doesn't work. And then it's not for people who aren't interested in living a healthy, active lifestyle. And then the worst is people who don't prioritize their health. What's it like when we try to help somebody who won't prioritize their health?
It's definitely a big challenge. You're constantly trying to remind them why you want to help them get better. But if someone's not willing to prioritize their health, it makes our jobs much more challenging.
Well, right. And then the result doesn't happen, because most of the people look at pain as an external thing. And they don't realize that, your liver and your brain and your heart and your kidneys and your hormones all play into the pain that you're having. Oh, yeah. And the gut and the toxins in your body. The biotoxins are some of the worst, and the infections. So there's layers to pain that get overlooked. And so if you don't prioritize your health, then you can never have a lasting solution when it comes to pain. And so that's what it's not for. So today, what I'm going to share with you in our big promise to our amazing community here is you're going to find these unknown possibilities that work in reversing pain. And most doctors have missed this in finding lasting relief. And so for those of you who have actually gone through a program, we'd love to hear from you throughout this and see, tell us what pain you had before, what your life was like before, and then what your life is like now. And then because we're doing the identity challenge, for those of you who are in pain right now, I'm going to do this little exercise with you. And I want you to right now just kind of visualize yourself without the pain. So just put yourself in the shoes of the person you want to become. So if you have knee pain, for example, just tell yourself and have an affirmation. You want to put that energy into your body and say, look, I am a person that has healthy knees. I can climb up and down stairs with no problem. I can pick up my grandkids, my kids. I can run without pain. So just write down that statement. Write down the future version of you. This is called future pacing. My good friend Michael Burnoff taught me this technique, and it's been one of the most life-changing things that I've seen. So the very first step that you have to do is establish yourself as someone who doesn't have pain. So so write that down. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 steps that you have to take that get missed. Most doctors miss in pain. We're going to go through these 3 systems, and I think you'll find it very, very interesting and transformative. And then what we're going to do is for those of you who have somebody in your life that you'd love to give a gift of health to, is right now we have the opportunity for you to get a copy of my book, and your friends, family, or loved ones can get a free consultation with this. It's a $30 gift. It's a $600 value. They get access to the Health Accelerator challenges. They get an acupuncture treatment, an exam, and a consultation with myself or one of our pain experts. And they get Never Stop Healing, just a phenomenal book. So many of you know who I am. I'm an author. I'm the founder of Go Wellness and East West Health. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, certified in Seitai Shimpo acupuncture, which is a specialized form of acupuncture that gets rid of pain and autoimmunity. And I'm also a functional medicine practitioner. I'm a regenerative medicine consultant and expert as well. And we've helped over 60,000 people. I'm also the designer of the Pain Reset program, and that's what I'll be talking to you about today. And I help people get out of pain so they can get back to their life. So Kate, I think that's one of the biggest things that we find is that when people are in pain all the time, they can't get back to their life. So this is why we have the podcast, Your Healthy Self, that we're on today. I've got other books, Your Health Transformation, Your Healthy Self. All of these things point to my overall mission in life, which is to transform the health of as many people as possible. So Kate, here's some things. I'll let you share what some of our patients have said who've come in. And you know Dr. Campbell, him and his wife are great patients. But
yeah, I feel freaking amazing.
I was like, that's enough. We'll just leave it there.
That's awesome. Another one from Diane. I came to East West Health with bone on bone in my knees. I wanted to put off the surgery within days. The swelling in my knees went down. Could walk again in 3 months. I had more improvements than I'd had in the past 3 years of failed treatments. And I think that's really why people come to see us is they've tried so many different things, and it's not just a singular treatment that we do. Yes, we do, there's some very innovative treatments that we provide for pain, but it's the whole process of looking internally and looking at everything that I believe creates so much success with what we've been able to do for patients.
Absolutely. And so, I think many of you, if you go back, you can probably figure out a time when you're in a lot of pain. And so one of the times, the most excruciating pain in my life is when I had a snowboarding accident. I was going about 40 miles per hour down the mountain, and I had a skier cut right in front of me. And so I had a split decision to make. Do I hit a tree or do I hit the skier? And I decided to take my chances on the skier instead of a tree. And the skier was okay, by the way. I just pushed him out of the way, but I went tumbling and had a really nasty tear in my rotator cuff. It was a full thickness tear, a couple centimeters thick. And then I had my labrum was splintered. My scapula was fractured, all but about 1/2 of an inch. And for months, I couldn't sleep. The pain was so severe. I tried all the treatments in the clinic. I was getting trigger point injections, prolotherapy, ozone, all kinds of things. And then it wasn't until I found regenerative medicine that actually helped me get back on my game and started helping me feel better. But what I felt like is I was like, I'm just going to have to rest in pain. I'm gone. It doesn't feel good because I said, I'm never going to get a full night's sleep, because for those of you who have ever had shoulder pain, you probably remember what it's like to be tossing and turning and trying to find a comfortable position. I couldn't find one. And it was excruciating. And I had a lot more empathy for my patients who I'd seen over the years. And so this shoulder pain, I finally had the realization that I'm going to have to get surgery. And so many of you realize that, I said, well, I'm the guy that doesn't get surgery no matter what. And I help people avoid it. But the pain was so severe, I could not see another way out of it. And it was finally when I went to this doctor who actually I grew up with. And I'm like, Dr. Zollinger, what are my options? And she said, well, you need surgery, but I know you don't want to do it. So then she's the one that actually turned me on to some of these regenerative therapies. And these regenerative therapies, it opened up my eyes to these new possibilities in healing. And this was 10 years ago. And now we've deployed over 12,000 of these regenerative treatments. And not only did it change my life, but it helped so many others, because I realized that my shoulder, no matter how damaged it was, if I gave my body an opportunity to heal by creating a new environment, that could literally change my life. And that's what I did. I just focused on, I identified my shoulder as being a healthy shoulder because I'm creating the environment where my shoulder can actually heal. And I think that's what's missing in medicine right now, is we just want to go in as healthcare providers, and I've been just as guilty, and we don't retrain the body and the consciousness of the cells and the DNA in our body. We don't retrain it first and say, hey, this is who I'm becoming. I'm becoming a new healthy shoulder. And so, but when you put the new consciousness and life in there, we use these umbilical cord tissue allografts, and it was just phenomenal what happened to my shoulder then. So yes, it's kind of scary getting an injection, but we do use ultrasound imaging, and we get it exactly where it needs to go. That's what our doctors do, our pain experts. And my results were within 3 days. I had improved energy within 3 weeks, but within 3 days, I actually slept through the night, which was amazing. But yeah, I had improved energy, better sleep, increased range of motion, increased happiness, better calmness. I could actually meditate for more than 2 minutes, and just mental clarity. And I would not have been able to do this pose where I'm holding up my arms with the amount of pain that I was in. So yeah, it's been a phenomenal journey for me, and we've seen this with so many people. So a lot of people might be thinking, look, your knees are too far gone to get help, bone on bone, right, Kate? Most people think they're going to have to just rest in pain, as that image shows.
Yeah, I think that's what many people and many patients that come into our office initially, they just believe they're going to be stuck with pain. And there's going to be different instances and different movements and actions that may have some pain depending on how severe someone is. But usually there's typically always options, and there's always different ways that we can really look underlying at how we can accelerate the body's ability to heal itself. Because that's where I think the key lies, is in that injection process. It wasn't like Regan had a robot go in there and fix his shoulder. It was actually like infusing some specific material that's going to create a healing environment for the body to just go in there and do what it does with healing.
Yeah. So maybe some of you have said, well, I've tried back surgery and this hasn't helped, or why hasn't my doctor talked to me about this, right? Because that's what's going on in people's brain, is like, well, hey, this is cool that Regan did it, but why is no one talking about it? Why doesn't my insurance cover these services? And then so many of our patients that we see every day, they've said, well, I've already had injections and tried natural medicine. It didn't work. And I'm going to show you today that there's reasons why it didn't work. And so if you feel like, man, I'm just going to have to live with this pain, well, hopefully today we give you just a little bit of hope and a little bit of clarity that there's a right way of doing this. And that's what we've discovered over 10 years working with the world's leading experts. I mean, it's not like we just treated me and said, oh, we got it figured out. It's been a long journey. And so you guys are benefiting from decades of experience that we have, and then also the multiplication of us working with the world's leading experts in the field of pain. So here's the 3 phases of care that most doctors miss. And many of you can resonate with this, but number one, you've got to remove the inflammation. So this is the biotoxins, the infections, and the cytokines. So these are really critical, because if you don't remove the infection and the biotoxins, then the body's not going to heal. And so there's actually a study that was done in 2018. And what they did is they looked at every osteoarthritic joint. They induced osteoarthritis in several different animal groups, primarily rodents, by the way. And then, but then they took out and they analyzed the joints of these animals, and they found that there's Staph aureus in it. And then what they did is they said, well, let's see if it's in human joints when we do knee replacements. They started culturing the bacteria in knees of patients who are undergoing knee replacements. And they found that, sure enough, there's Staph aureus. And so there was infection in literally 100% of these joints. So pretty safe to say that if any of you have arthritis, and if your joint creaks right now, so listen to your knees, listen to your shoulders, are they making a lot of noise? Well, there's an infection in there, and these infections, they can harbor, just like a cavity in a tooth. Once it's there, there's not a lot of blood supply in the bones and in the joints. And so once they're there, they just kind of harbor, and they just cause this low grade inflammation. And so Kate, do you hear doctors talk about that at all?
No,
Not much, right?
Not typically.
And then you think of the cytokines. There's cytokines that help regenerate and rebuild, and then there's cytokines that degenerate it. And this is when you have the cytokine 6, the interleukin 6, the tumor necrosis factor alpha. Those cytokines start damaging the joint. And then biotoxins get in there, the plastics that we eat, the heavy metals, toxins in our food, they all get stored in our joints. And that's when it gets cold and you're like, I have so much pain in the winter. Well, your body's got some toxins in it that need to be cleared out. So that's number one. Number two is you've got to repair the damage. And this is not where you just want to go anti-inflammatory, because you could say, well, Regan, we just removed the inflammation. We put in a cortisone injection. And that's not going to do it. The cortisone, maybe it can help calm down the inflammation right away, but it's not going to do anything. It might actually accelerate the damage. So we got to repair the damage to the tendons, muscles, cartilage, and ligaments. That's phase 2. And then phase 3 is the regenerate and rebuild. So this is the most important, because this is where lifestyle kicks in. Because what happens is, if you're not regenerating and rebuilding it, it starts with the mindset, because people get to this third stage and they're like, well, my knee pain is 50% better. But what keeps people from getting to that 90 to 100% level is they don't focus on the lifestyle. They start letting self-doubt creep in, and they don't really make the changes that are necessary to keep those toxins out and to keep that joint healthy now that the regeneration has occurred. So those are the 3 things that most doctors miss when it comes to permanent relief of pain. Anything else on there, Kate, or you think that's pretty complete?
No, I think that's pretty complete.
So should we jump into these a little deeper and we'll talk about this, because so many people feel like there's no way this can ever help me. I'm too far gone. And many of you are in the same boat. But today I'm going to share with you exactly how you can start climbing mountains again, start feeling better, get your energy back, get your momentum back, and start feeling really good. So I'll show you a simple way to reverse the pain. So the first thing you have to do is remember that the medication, I know we get seduced into thinking that it's going to save us. And sometimes medication, we mistakenly believe that it's handling the problem, because we don't have pain when we take Tylenol or acetaminophen or ibuprofen or prednisone or whatever it may be. But one medication tends to lead to more. And so what we want to do is start mitigating the amount of medications you're on. The second thing we have to do is you've got to start looking at the cost of it. And most of us, we don't ever take the time to actually get motivated enough to realize that our pain is actually going to cost us a lot of money in the future if we don't take care of it right now. So the Arthritis Association, what they found is that the average direct cost of osteoarthritis in the United States is $11,000 per person per year.
Wow.
Yeah. Osteoarthritis. How many people do you know of that have osteoarthritis, Gabe?
A lot.
And so this is medications, this is doctor's visits, and then this is side effects from the medication, surgeries. So when you have a little bit of arthritis that starts to creep in, it's kind of like having that cavity that's just kind of starting. And, ideally, you don't want to ever have cavities that start at all. But sometimes you get those, and then you want to make sure you get to it as quickly as possible so there's the least amount of damage done to the tooth to get rid of that infection. But in our joints, most people, they put it off because 5 days out of the week, Cade, my knee doesn't bother me. It's just on the weekends when I do anything active.
Yeah. No, we had a patient in St. George just on either Monday or Tuesday when I was down there, and I was talking to one of the team members, and her thought was my knee doesn't hurt that bad. I'm not ready to get this treatment or procedure, but she had actually already kind of pre-purchased the procedure, but she still was wanting to wait till it was worse. And really understanding you have to get to that. You need to solve that problem before it gets too severe, because it's just to your point. Like, if you have a cavity in your tooth, it's just going to keep getting deeper and deeper and worse and worse if you don't do something about it. And same with arthritis. If you don't have if you're not working to resolve and fix that, it's not going to fix itself.
It certainly won't. And you can see there's different stages of progression, right? And so severe is kind of like when you go to get your car a safety check and they're like, hey, the wires are literally sticking out of the tires of your car. You can't drive this thing. You're like, oh, no, it's fine. I've been driving it for 100,000 miles. What's the big deal, right? It's like, take care of it. Sometimes you got to replace the tires. And so the treatments that we do actually replace the damage that occurs in the joints. And sometimes it does. It's something that you have to consider every couple of years. Some of you every year. You do want to just refill those joints so you keep them healthy. Because once the damage is set in, your body gets in a pattern, and the universe wants to recycle us. Unfortunately, the older we get, the more it is that we need some countermeasures to stop that progression. So the cost of it is a big one. Cycle of pain. Here's what I find that happens to my patients who are in pain. They have an energy drain. They don't sleep as well. Their mood starts to come to more of an irritable place or an anxious place, or they get depression. There is a study that showed that people who live with chronic pain are 60% more likely to struggle with depression. And then there's the activity. When you become sedentary, it leads to more inflammation, more infection, more biotoxins that build up in the body. And then it's really challenging to break this cycle of pain. So the biggest message for today is, if you have pain, do something about it immediately versus putting it off. And there's so many great therapies available that do not postpone this. The other thing is pain medications. They don't solve the problem. And so if you look at this, how our pain meds solving the problem, this was almost 600 readers from the website Healthline. 5% said totally, 50% said somewhat, 37% not enough, and 7% not at all. So this is 50% of people just having some symptom relief. So the real secret to this big problem is, number one, remove the inflammation. You got to get the right testing, the right treatments, and the right lifestyle. So how do we do this? Well, number one, here's one of the studies I shared with you where there's an issue with the transmigration of bacteria that get into the joint. So the very first thing you've got to do is get rid of the infection in the joint, just like you get rid of that cavity. Number two, you've got to turn off the osteoarthritis. So these are those cytokines that I was talking about, Cade. The interleukin-6, the tumor necrosis factor alpha, IL-1, those things are just degrading that joint. And then you got to remove the biotoxins. That's how you get rid of the inflammation in the joint. So we're professionals at that. And then we go to phase 2, repair the damage. And this is the interesting phase, because now that you've got, if you imagine your joint, like your knee joint is like a house on fire. Very first thing you're going to do if your house is on fire is what?
Get out.
You're going to get out, and then you're going to get the fire department and turn off the flames, right?
Got to get the flames out. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Don't mess around with it. Just get the flames out. You're not going to go and your house is on fire and say, hey, let's go fix the foundation. Let's go let's start painting.
There's some blacks. There's some black on that wall. Let's paint over it.
Yeah. Let's just paint
over it.
Pretty soon
that wall will be gone.
Yeah. And that's what happens in the joints, right? It's kind of like just doing cortisone injections. And it's like, cool. That's kind of like you painted the house and temporarily it looks better and it feels better, but that fire is still raging in there. And so you got to put the fire out first, and then you go and start repairing the damage. And if you can repair the damage, then you have a foundation that's really solid. Actually, you can have a much better house than what you started with. And so how do we do this? Well, the very first thing we do is we start getting the expression of the cells in the joint healthy again. And so, believe it or not, you have these amazing capabilities in your body to heal. And you have these cells in your body that can regenerate everything that's been damaged. And so sometimes just replenishing those cells, these MSCs, these medicinal signaling cells, just by replenishing those, that's when you start regenerating the damage. And so there's different therapies that actually can create this environment where your body can start to heal itself again. So that's one of the most important things in the repair, is use some of these therapies. There's different peptides and tissue allografts that can help in benefiting the reparative factor. And then what we see is once you've repaired the joint itself and gone internally and actually started correcting the problem, what we start to see is there's more cartilage space in the tendons and the ligaments. You look at an MRI and it looks much healthier than before the treatment. So pretty amazing, because, Kate, just, if you look at it from a structural perspective, if you're driving your car and the shocks don't work anymore, it's going to be hard to keep that thing on the road, right?
Yeah. And
so if you go in there and you say, well, we're going to get the hydraulics fixed in these shocks so the car stays on the road. And that's really what stabilizes things. And that's exactly what happens in knees and backs and shoulders and hips. And, thousands of patients have had this reparative process occur, and it's changed their life forever. So the final phase, so we put the fire out in the house. You feel better now that the fire is out, Cade? We got the biotox.
Feels better, yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't paint first, which that's what most clinics do. Let's go right to painting. But we put out the fire. We got rid of the biotoxins, those chemicals in the joint. We got rid of those cytokines that are degenerating it. So our bodies go into this degenerative cycle. And then we also got rid of the infection. And then we went into the reparative mode. So we started turning on the cellular response and creating an environment where your body could repair the damage that had happened to the cartilage, ligaments, and tendons. So now you got this structure that's clean. Now it's time to move in the furniture, and now we can paint the inside of the house. So is that okay with you? We'll go and start kind of.
Yeah, let's get this prettied up now.
There's some apples there for you. So how do we do this? Well, there's different things. Some of you may need some physical therapy, some rehab, because you're going to have to retrain your body how to move, how to walk, how to activate muscles. Some of you may need to work with some pain interventionists, some pain specialists. We have this very cool thing that we call manipulation under anesthesia. So sometimes we have some great pain interventionists on Saturdays that we work with. And what they do is we do just put the body into a sleep mode, and then we stretch the body out all the way. And we do some more advanced procedures there, like the nerve reset. There's some treatments that we can do in joints. And so that may be a part of your whole recovery process. So as we meet with you, we'll sit down and analyze what's best for you. Some of you may need acupuncture. Some of you may need certain nutrition. But I can tell you the biggest thing we found in the reparative and regenerative phase is that there's not a singular approach that's going to fix it. So Cade, we all live in this modern day society where we want the silver bullet. I just want my knee fixed. Just put the injection in and I'm done, right?
Yeah.
And what happens in the cases like that?
Yeah, it's not a magic bullet. It usually, there's a little bit of time, there's some commitment, there's different nutrients that's involved. And so when someone comes in and just expects to be, I just want to get that injection and then I'm done, is sometimes there's disappointment.
Crazy, isn't it?
It doesn't do, quite as much as they'd like it to. And that's, we try to do a good job at educating on that, but yeah, there's different times where that will happen. As someone comes in, we do the injection, they don't follow through with all the other procedures, treatments, protocols that we've put together for that. And now sometimes it works. Most of the time there's some disappointment because they didn't get the results they were looking for.
Yeah, it's wild. It would be like going to an orthodontist and you get braces put on and you look in the mirror a week later and you're like, my teeth don't look any straighter. And you go back and you're like,
Yeah.
Get this crap out of my mouth. It's not working. And the orthodontist is like, oh, you got to give it time. It's going to work, but you kind of have to go through the process. And people don't realize that with chronic pain, because what do the drug commercials do? Well, they trick us into believing that pain is just an external issue. Chronic pain, anything that you've had over 6 weeks, it's not external anymore. It's affecting your physiology, and your physiology is affecting that pain. So chronic pain, you have to treat it from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that's what most people miss. And so we think pain relief's this way, but it's actually that way. And it's not the easy way. It's the easy way that ends up saving you a lot of money. I mean, $11,000 every year is what people are spending on osteoarthritis, and they don't even realize it in most cases. I mean, what if you just fixed it for good? Yeah, you may have to invest something up front, but in the long run, that investment, it starts paying off. You're going to have 100x on your return. So the other thing, these are facts. Chronic pain comes from the inside out. Fact number 2, nutrients in your blood, your hormones, and cellular health are crucial for long-term results. If you don't fix your nutrition, if you don't correct your hormones, and then if you don't correct the DNA in your joints, you're not going to fix the problem long-term. Fact number 3 is lifestyle, activity levels, and stress are all part of the pain cycle. So you have to address each one of those. And then the final one, which is my favorite, is you are the owner of your health. So you're the one that gets to dictate. Do you want to live a life that's full of vibrancy, physical activity that you love, hiking, running, whatever it is you want to do? You've got to own it. No one else can do that for you. I mean, we have one of our fitness classes is called We Can't Exercise For You. And so we literally can't exercise for. I wish I could, but we can't. So you've got to own your health and own it today. So that's the biggest thing. So here's well, I'll share with you a couple of our patient stories. So this is Jim, and you can see Jim's got a pretty good belly. How many of you have dudes in your life that have bellies like Jim's, and you're kind of like, man, it looks like a bowling ball landed there. And so Jim, he wanted to get rid of his knee pain. He had osteoarthritis, and he was starting to get hip pain, low back pain. Then I said, well, there's an easy way of doing this, and there's a hard way. And he said, all right, I want the easy way. And I said, all right, well, the easy way is to actually change your entire life, all your habits. I said, look, everybody is 100% disciplined to their existing set of habits, right? So I said, you're still going to have 24 hours in the day. The easy way is just to start doing those 24 hours differently. Is that something you're open to? And he's like, that doesn't sound easy. I said, we've made it really easy for you. It's a step-by-step process. In 180 days, you're going to have brand new joints and you're going to have a brand new body. The hard way is if we just fix the symptom. We get you out of pain and you feel great, but then you have to keep coming back and you never actually fix the underlying cause. That's the hard way. And you'll be a patient for life and you'll spend a lot more money in the clinic. So what do you want to do? Do you want to do the easy way or the hard way? And he said, all right, I'll go the easy way. But this sounds hard. And I said, okay, well, we just got to change the thinking, change the way that you imagine the future version of yourself. How are you going to get there? And so, he's an individual who's been, pushing himself, high-powered executive. And then finally, as he jumped into it, and this is what he said is within 6 months, I was able to golf, hike, walk without pain. But more importantly, this was his biggest thing. I was able to get my relationship with food and stress under control, which has been liberating to say the least. So he used
That's
food
awesome.
to take care of his stress, and to take care of his nurturing. He used food to nurture himself. So it changed his life forever. And so so there's powerful things you can do. And so this whole process that we took Jim through is what we call the Pain Reversal Reset Program. And this is a brand new program that we're launching, because what I realized is in our pain programs, we got so many patients, we took care of the core of the problem. We got the reparative work, the regenerative work, and we removed the infections, the biotoxins, but we didn't have a process that was sustainable. And so we didn't train our patients well enough on the habits that are needed and the lifestyle. And so we've now got a 180-day program that we're taking patients through, just like Jim, but now we've refreshed it so that there's going to be a systematic way that you can get out of pain and stay out of pain, so you don't get those obnoxious cavities coming back in the joints. And so I'll share with you what this looks like. And this is another one of our patients who had osteoarthritis in the hip. She could not be more pleased with the care she had. This was Gail. My treatment included various approaches. Integrated health treatment blends traditional Western and proven Eastern practices. So this pain reversal program, the beautiful thing about it is it gives you real answers. And so as you meet with us, for those of you who are looking to get some real answers, the very first step is let's sit down and have a face-to-face conversation. We can do that face-to-face. It can be over Zoom, or it can be in the office. And so I know we have so many listeners, thousands of listeners all over the world, actually, which is pretty wild. And so we can meet with you. We have people who come in from Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, I mean, from all over. And so we have the capability. We can, now that we have technology, there's great things we can do to get you some real answers. So the very first thing is, you've got to realize, like, are you going to do something about your pain? Are you going to do something different? Are you going to be part of the new movement and the new opportunities that exist? Or are you just going to live with the pain and hope that it goes away on your own? Because what I've learned in talking to thousands of patients is that living with pain takes life out of your time. And I think you guys probably understand what I mean by that. And then it also takes more money the longer you wait, because remember, this osteoarthritis alone is $11,000 per year is what it's costing individuals. But then you think of the quality of life and the distraction it is, and the inability you have to do the things you want to do. That's the most devastating part of this. And so, once again, people who've gone through our program and experienced it, they've said, look, these are genuine, professional, knowledgeable, concerned people. I could not be happier with my decision. I'm confident that because of their work, my life has dramatically been changed for the better. And so there's amazing things. That was from Chris. So very first thing is, let's help you move from pain into wellness. That's our whole goal, is to provide you with the structure, the team that you need to get you to the next step. So many of you may be asking, well, what's next? What do I need to do? Well, the very first thing you want to do is, if you're somebody who wants to come in, do some work with us, right now, our consultations, if you let us know that you heard us on the radio show, on our podcast, then the total evaluation, pain evaluation and consultation is typically $287. It's just $27. But you got to let them know you listen to us on the podcast. So let our team know, and then we can get you in. All you got to do is, if you're someone who wants to get in and have your whole body, your knees, your back, everything evaluated, you just type your name into the chat box, and Kate is here, and we can help you get a consultation set up. But yeah, feel free to type your name in there, and then we'd love to help you out. So the very first thing that will happen for those of you who are ready to do something about your pain and ready to take the jump. I mean, I know it's scary because, okay, people are, it's kind of a nerve-wracking experience when you're like, all right, I've had this issue, but do I really want to talk about it? And do I want to do something? And so what would be your advice to the people who are kind of hanging back on their pain levels?
Yeah. So if you're in pain and you maybe it's just it's not that bad, doesn't affect you very much. My experience with pain, I was I was in the ER actually screaming for more morphine to the nurses. And I had gone home from school for a couple days. It was a while back, but I had gone home, hopped on my dirt bike, wrecked really hard, and I broke my thoracic spine. So it just felt like someone was stabbing me in the back with knives. And my options then were kind of drugs and surgery. Here's some pain meds, and you probably eventually need surgery is what the doctor told me. I got better over time, but my back would just ache and ache. Like, it wasn't so bad that I couldn't do certain things. I could go snowboarding for maybe half the day, and then I just pay for it. And so I just kept putting it off and putting it off. When finally I actually ended up doing this procedure, I did a lot with it, went through a program, and that's when my back actually, like, I felt liberated by that. And it took actually Regan, when we were snowboarding one time, I was like, oh, my back is killing me. I got to bow out. Took him patronizing me enough to actually go do something about it. Because I kept putting it off.
Can help you. There's solutions for that pain, buddy. Oh yeah, I forgot.
So it's like, I'm a professional procrastinator when it comes to that. But I look back and I'm like, well, if I would have done that like 3 years earlier, I would have been that much further ahead, felt that much better, would have that much better quality of life. And so that's the thing you have to look at, is if there's ever an instance where you're just sitting there and thinking, oh, this, like, I got to do something about this right now. And then it goes away, and then it's out of sight, out of mind. And then the next time you do that certain activity that creates pain, it's right there. Now, some people don't have that luxury and they're just in pain all the time. You need to do something right now. People that, for examples like me, do something about it right now. If you still experience pain in different instances, we need to figure out a good solution to get you back to the place that you want to be.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. So for those of you who appreciate all those who are messaging us and getting into, just saying, hey, I want to take the next step. And actually, we don't know if we can help you or not until we've actually sat down and had a conversation with you. So this is no guarantee that we're going to accept you as a patient. But, there's 3 assignments that we need you to complete before we meet with you. This is fill out the new patient paperwork. And if you are an existing patient of ours, but just have some nagging things that you want to make sure that they don't get out of control, and you'd love to just make sure that you're being smart about your health and your joint health, your back health, all those things, then just message Kay, but you don't have to fill out the new patient paperwork. I'm sure we have your images and labs. And then, but for those of you who are new, make sure you fill out your paperwork. We actually read it, and it's really important to us because we want to get to know you. And we're not an office where we just say, yeah, fill out your paperwork, and then we never read it. And we ask you the same redundant questions. You're like, well, did you even read what I wrote? There's nothing more infuriating than that. I just spent an hour on the paperwork and you haven't read it. So, and then we do look at your images. So send over any images or labs you've got, and then show up on time. And research shows that when you have a support person involved in your care, that you get better 50% faster than people who don't have a support person. So if you want to double the results that you have, make sure you bring a support person to this visit. So first thing you've got to ask yourself is, how motivated am I on a scale of 1 to 10 to really take care of the problem? because we tell people in our programs and working with us in our clinics, we can take some A students, we can take B students, for sure A's and B's, but we can't work with C students. So the people who put their health off, like Cade says, he's a professional procrastinator. I couldn't get him any help until he actually decided for himself to come in, right?
Yeah.
And then you came in and you're like, holy cow, I have like 10 times more energy now. I can sleep. I mean, why did you wait so long? And that's all. You're just like, oh, I don't know. I just, it's only a few years that you wasted.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah, so these things are really important. So remember, 1 in 3 of us experience frequent pain. So there's people out there who need your help, and they need to know where to go to get real answers for pain. And so once again, our process isn't for everybody. We do things so different because we're actually getting rid of the biotoxins, we're getting rid of the infections in the joint, and we're changing that cellular expression. So we work at the DNA level in everybody's case. And so, make sure that you share this with them. This will be, it's a podcast you can easily share. It's on YouTube, it's everywhere. So, doing nothing is about the worst decision you can make. I believe it was Teddy Roosevelt who said the best decision you can make is the right decision. The second best decision you can make is the wrong decision. The worst decision you can make is no decision at all.
No decision.
Yeah. So make a decision today, because I want you, once again, let's identify with who you want to be. What's the future version of yourself look like? How's it going to be when you can move and pick things up without pain? What's it like when you can move your joint and it's not cracking and crackly? And how does it feel now that you have the energy that you've always wanted, and you can connect with people in deeper relationships and experience life where you can travel without fear? And you can imagine a future where you're a healthy 100-year-old, that all your joints work and you're super active. So that's the thing, where you can hike, bike. I love biking, so that's why I put that in there. Skiing, snowboarding, whatever you love to do. So for those of you, once again, if you're experiencing pain, you want real solutions that are easy and fast, this is for you. If you want lasting solutions that don't require more surgeries or medication, this is for you. And then it's for people who want to get rid of pain so you can get back to your life. This is for you. So, once again, the very first thing we do is when you come in, the opportunity you have is this pain evaluation and consultation. You can identify the causes of pain. So we'll go through and we'll identify what treatments are necessary to remove the inflammation, repair the damage, and regenerate the body. And then finally, this visit will let us know if you're someone we want to work with. So do you qualify for our care? And we'll establish that. Today it's $27. So all you got to do is let them know you heard this podcast, this video, and we'd love to share that with your friends and family. We do have 100% clarity guarantee. So what that means is, for those of you who come in and take advantage of this, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, because if we can't help you, we'll find someone who can. If we don't feel like we can get your joints fixed and get you healthier, we'll let you know of some place that can. And then our pain experts, we're leading regenerative medicine consultants who can easily let you know if you're a candidate for care. So get on this. You guys have a special gift. Many of you have already purchased my gift, purchased my book, Never Stop Healing. But if you want a digital copy, you can just plug that in, just email us or send us we'll text it or email you, but put in your email or your text number into the chat box and we'll send you a digital copy of my book. And then very cool thing that's happening tonight is we've got our book signing events. We're having a little open house. We're going to have some refreshments here in Salt Lake. And I'll be signing copies of my book, Never Stop Healing. This is where you can also purchase our gift bag, which includes the acupuncture, the consultation, and the Health Accelerator access pass, all access. And you can purchase that as well. So really appreciate you guys being part of this amazing community. Tonight, the event is going to be from 4 to 5. So make sure you get here. And send your friends, family, and loved ones. We'd love to have you guys come party with us.
Yeah, do not miss it, everybody. Well, hopefully you can make it. So it's going to be a good one. If you're in the Salt Lake area, come to the Salt Lake Clinic. I'm up here for it. I'm excited. Can't wait to get my book signed, Regan.
Awesome.
And looking forward to it.
Great. Okay, well, some of the questions that people are going to ask just as we close up, how long is the appointment? Well, you're going to need to block out about an hour. Other questions, what lifestyle changes will need to be made? I can tell you right now that there's going to be sugar is not a big part of our program. Drinking a lot of soda is probably not a big part of it. So there's, we're going to have you get rid of some of those things that cause inflammation, add in some healthy foods. But, these programs, we have people who are 6 years old. We have other patients who are in their 90s, and they figure out a way to do it because it's an easy step-by-step process. Is it affordable? Absolutely. Many of our patients are on fixed incomes, they're retired. And so we can find a way to make it affordable for virtually everybody. And so, these are some of the things. Does insurance cover it? Insurance is not going to cover a lot of, these types of programs. So I think I did get everyone's questions answered there. Any other questions that you see coming through, Kate?
Let's see. No, I think you covered them all.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Regan, awesome info today. Thank you for sharing that. Sponsor of the show today, the Smart Medicine. So go to thesmartmedicine.com. Check out anything, any of your supplement needs. Grab some of those Intergenius, one of my favorites, energy multiplier for stabilizing blood sugar. Those are some of the key formulas. So take a look at those. We appreciate you guys joining the show today and listening in, and love you all. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. See y'all.
Bye-bye.